Trace the line, street by street and crime by crime. Every clue in broken light, every lie we drag to sight. You hide the truth, we hold the frame, turn each shadow into a name. We look left, we look right, take another pass tonight. One more angle, one more road, till the sealed up answers show. Pull the thread, pull the thread. Truth comes up from the dead. Pull the thread, pull the thread. We won't let the case go red. True crime warriors, stand and see all the angles, all the leads. Pull the thread, pull the thread. Truth comes out. Truth comes out. Paper trails and witness gaps, timestamps, stamp signs and faded maps. We work together side by side. No ego, just the need to find what was hidden, what went wrong, who stayed silent, who played along. We look left, we look right, take another pass tonight. One more angle, one more road, till the sealed up answers show. Pull the thread, pull the thread. Truth comes up from the dead. Pull the thread, pull the thread. We won't let the case go red. True crime warriors, stand and see all the angles, all the leads. Pull the thread, pull the thread. Truth comes out. Truth comes out. If the door stays shut, we kick it open. If the story bends, we break the spoken. Every bruise, every mark, every name left in the dark. No more smoke, no more shame. We keep digging through the flame. Pull the thread, pull the thread. Truth comes up from the dead. Pull the thread, pull the thread. We won't let the case go red. True crime warriors, stand and see all the angles, all the leads. Pull the thread, pull the thread. Truth comes out. Truth comes out. Typical, unique, bring the case files in. Bronx Tales, yeah, we dig right in. They go in the TruCrime Cafe. The last 24 make the lies give away. Pavarotti with the facts so clean. Harsh reality in the break room screen. Truth and transparency line by line. line, we tear the mask off every single time. No sleep, no praise, just cold hard days. Every missing piece gets brought to light. They spin the smoke, we cut the rope. If they buried truth, we bring it back tonight. Truth revealed, truth revealed. We don't bend, we don't kneel. Truth revealed, truth revealed. Justice moves when we feel. Day after day, we clear the haze. Truth revealed, truth revealed. We won't stop till it's real. Till it's real. Jules, true crime reactions, eyes on fire. Hildreth investigates, keeps the pressure higher. Amber Vance with the sharp lit frame. Travis T. Logic calling out names. Glitch DNA ripping through the noise. Every fake excuse gets drowned in the void. Idaho for Delphi, Karen Reed. So many shadows we expose the bleed. No sleep, no praise, just cold hard days. Every missing piece gets brought to light. They spin the smoke, we cut the rope. If they bury truth, we bring it back tonight. Truth revealed, truth revealed. We don't bend, we don't kneel. Truth revealed, truth revealed. Justice moves when we feel. Day after day, we clear the haze. Truth revealed, truth revealed. We won't stop till it's real. Keep the receipts, keep the flame. Every crooked story learns our name. Every door they shut, we kick it wide. Truth and transparency walk beside. Truth revealed, truth revealed. We don't bend, we don't kneel. Truth revealed, truth revealed. Justice moves when we feel. Day after day, we clear the haze. Truth revealed, truth revealed. We won't stop till it's real. Truth revealed. Truth revealed. Until the whole world knows what's real.
All right. Welcome back to Dago After Dark. Welcome to the cafe. It is great to have you all here, guys. We're jumping back into some old school stuff. We used to do coffee in a cold case. I got a cold case that definitely needs some here, and I hope you're all here for that. The name on the case is Colin Gillis. It's happened back in 2012. This is one hell of a mystery, folks, and one hell of a crazy situation that I definitely want everybody to see and hear. It needs as much attention as possible, and something needs to happen at this point so that the families of Mr. Gillis can get some closure here. So please make sure to hit the like button, share this out, let everybody know what we're doing, and well, you know how we do this here. Let's do it. Get started on this one, guys. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Here we go.
Neon lights flicker like broken halos.
Whispers gather in the smoke-filled air. Tables carved with secrets and shadows. Every story's a wound laid bare. The kettle's boiling with a restless rage, justice written on an unseen page. I sip the silence, bitter taste, waiting for the ghosts to show their face. At the TruCrime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betrayed. Mirrors cracked, reflections are liars. Ashes fall where the guilty once stood. The jukebox hums like a funeral choir. Echoes pounding through the neighborhood. Every scar is a candlelit vow. We hunt the how, we demand the now. No more silence, no more disguise. We'll paint the night with sharpened cry. At the TruCrime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betrayed. This is not a sermon, it's a battlefield hymn, a requiem dripping from the bottle's rim. The guilty write stories in invisible ink, but we'll drag it all up from the edge of the break. At the TruCrime Cafe, the reckoning burns like a black bouquet. Every shadow will pay. In the TruCrime Cafe.
All right. Welcome back to the cafe of the true crime. Great to see you all here tonight. Thank you for joining me for a little late night with Dago. I appreciate it very much. As we dig into a little coffee and a cold case, guys, from back in the day when we used to do this, I may start doing this again. I always enjoyed these. I had a lot of positive input on these, and these cold cases definitely need to be seen and heard because, well, they're cold cases and they shouldn't be. This case that we're delving into is from 2012. The gentleman in question, his name is Colin Gillis. I do believe he was 18 years old when he disappeared, and there have been no solutions and results to this case. So this was brought to my attention. I have a passion for cold cases, always have, and especially ones that have as much mystery as this has connected to it. This is a problem, guys. And this, again, in my opinion, relates to what I would call more police corruption, very sadly. And it happens so often, especially in small towns, as you'll see. This is another one of those situations. This case is based out of a place called Tupper Lake, New York, in upstate New York. Very, very small town. Very quaint, close knit community per se. But again, involves people, as we'll see, that are important within the community. Money in relation to law enforcement. There's people interrelated here. A typical situation, which no surprise. Okay, I would love to be able to find a case that does not involve the possibility of police corruption, but there's so many of them. Either way, the Colin Gillis's family deserves closure on this. His family and friends have been heartbroken since this happened, and again, yet um, with no answer. You know, they deserve some kind of closure. It's very sad. They deserve justice, and they deserve real justice in this. And just some general, simple answers would be just enough. For to start with, but they don't have that. So, um, so where? Let me see here. 14 years, guys. 14 years this has been going on. Like I said, beautiful little town, beautiful area in upstate New York. I'm sure amazing people, but somebody or somebodies are just not very good people to allow this to happen. I believe there's many people that know the answer to this, okay? From the research I've done into this, I believe there's people that know the answers to this that refuse to talk to police, that refuse to come forward. And we've seen this in many other cases we've covered in the cold case arena as we go forth into this. And it's a very sad story um, of a young man ready to start his life. Cullen was pre med, was going to be a doctor, folks, and his life was taken away over, as you'll see, what seems to be an argument between people, guys. It's very sad. Very, very sad. So I'm excited to get into this, guys, and get you the info so you can hear about it, so you can spread the word, tell people to look into it, so on and so forth. And maybe, just maybe some answers will come forth on this, guys, at some point, and I can only hope. So welcome everybody that's here with us tonight. Miss Becca, great to see you again. Miss Tandy from Seahawks fan, welcome. Captain Jenks, good to see you, brother. Micro Dot, welcome. Zippity ZZ, great to see you today. Let me see. Right Turn Clyde, welcome back. Brother Green Girl, welcome to you. Rogue Knox in the house, good to see you. Realize, Analyze, good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Micro Dot, great to see ya. Let me see. Thank you, Cap. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Bad Sheet Crazy back in the house tonight. Thank you for joining us today. Wonderful to have you here. Liz Burr, good to see you, Miss Liz. CZ, one of our wonderful teachers joining us tonight. CZ, if you're back to work, I hope you're doing great thus far and starting off the year great. Baby Ames, welcome back, Baby Ames. Great to see you. Lisa Winchester, Blue Double, welcome. In Stitches, welcome, neighbor. Great to see you guys. Please, again, hit the like button. Share this out. Let everybody know what's going on. I'm sorry for those of you that are looking for an Idaho 4 case, but guys, we've gotten so much out of that case. We need to move forth and handle some other stuff and put some other stuff out there that really needs some attention. And I appreciate all of you that are here to support that. Kent Corbett, my friend, great to see you. Welcome, welcome. Again, Miss Becca, I hope things are getting better for you. Again, always in my thoughts and prayers, Miss Becca. And again, for your loss. So very sorry, dear. Sammy's in the house. Welcome, Sammy. Good to see you tonight, dear. Let me see. Again, share this out. Let everybody know what we're doing, guys. Coffee in a cold case with Dago after dark, guys. You can't go wrong there. And you don't have to be drinking coffee. Just know that I am. Come on down. And of course, because I always do, once we get into this case, I'll drop a link. I'll give you guys some thoughts, the ability to spread some of your feelings and thoughts in here to speak on this if you choose. I want to thank everybody that came in to support us in the last show we did. I hope that that may help in some aspects to bring forth some justice to that situation uh, for Lana's sake as well as for Eddie, and that the person that was involved in that horrible, horrible thing that they're doing is brought to justice in that aspect as well, and full accountability is taken. So that is what I hope to see come from that. So thank you for all of you that were here to support us for that. I want to thank anybody and everybody that has supported us by dropping anything in the Cash App, PayPal, and or the Venmo. Again, none of that is ever expected, guys, but every ounce of that is going towards helping us to move into our new home, which we do have a closing date now. Um, if we can get this money put together to be able to do all that and get moved and close out and all that stuff, guys. So once we do, I will be in a new home, in my new studio, new office, all of that. I'm super excited for that. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. But thank you to any and all of you that have either chosen to donate and support us that way, because every ounce of that is going towards that. And for those of you that will do it, I thank you ahead of time. If you do choose to support us, that would be the better way to do it. Super chats and super stickers are all very welcome. But at this point, none of that will reach us until next month at some point after a percentage is taken from YouTube. So if you want to help us in that aspect with the move, that would be the way to go via the cash links, guys. Welcome, Jeebs. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Grateful to have you here.
Jeff.
Let's see. Thank you to my moderators that have joined us in here tonight, or thank you to my moderator, Miss Tandy. Looks like we have one in here. Thank you, Tandy, for being here. Appreciate you very much. Blue Devil, great to see you as well. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. You know what? Hold on a minute here. Miss Lexi, great to see you tonight. Oh, I will definitely do that, Blue Devil. No worries. We have some time yet before we can move into that house, so I will still be here. For a bit, unfortunately, or wherever I end up at some point. I have to leave the premises here on the 28th, and I don't know where we'll be at between here and the new house. So hopefully somewhere. I don't know if I'll have to figure out a hotel or what, but we'll figure that out, I hope, at that point. Welcome, Cruddy. Good to see you. Sammy, again, if I already said hi, hello again. 1 minute here. I was going to do something and lost my complete train of thought. Hold on. Smiling Sleuth, welcome. Great to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us here for Coffee and a Cold Case. This one is a wild and crazy one, you guys. I'm grateful for you guys being here to support this. It needs to be heard for sure. Newbies. You're not super newbie, but you're newer. Well, I would love to, Cap, if I could, but that would not be an option. That'd be awesome, actually. Just like a little vacation in between, you know? That would be absolutely awesome. I didn't even know you could rent those like that. Team Bruner, welcome. And thank you for that. Grateful to all of you guys that are here, even though this is not Idaho 4. I love seeing you guys come in here. This is a true crime channel, not an Idaho 4 channel. So that tells me you guys are definitely interested in hearing some old school true crime. The cold cases are my favorite. For those of you that don't get it, they really are, or didn't know that. I love the mysterious cold cases because I like to try and figure out what happened. And I think they don't get enough airplay. They need more, and that's why we do these. So let me see something here. So, guys, make sure too, while we're waiting on some peeps to jump in here, drop down to the bottom of that your chat. There's a little dollar sign inside of a square, inside of a circle, and that is where you go in there. You click into that, and you allow yourself to receive gifts from people within the chat. What that does is, if you're not a member of the sauce, you're not a meatball yet, and you want to be, okay, that will allow you to receive the free memberships that get gifted out by so many of the generous and gracious people in our community, just by clicking that. And then when you do, when people drop these memberships, it opens you up to be able to receive one, which I would love. The more green, the better. The more meatballs we have in the sauce, that just gives my moderators good reasons to go out and buy new pots and pans to fill up with this sauce and all you awesome meatballs. So please, if you will, make sure you do. And I'll tell you who else loves it. And that's our friend Manny, and he'll show you how much. All right. Thank you, Manny, for your little get down. I'm working on Manny's girlfriend. I've had so much going on. It's been super busy in here, but I will get her completed soon. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and throw something back at you all for doing all the amazing things you guys do, supporting me the way you do, hitting the like button, when showing up and saying hi to me, wanting to hear my big mouth run. This is for you. And thank you all so much for being so amazing and so beautiful and just being you. And that is exactly what I love about you all, is you being you. So there you guys go. There's 5 new memberships for you guys to kick that off. It looks like Alec Clark, Ali Clark. There we go. Ali Clark, Wanda Woman, Offset Guitar Tech, Jennifer Hitchcock, and Euphemy all are jumping in the sauce with us. 5 new meatballs jumping in. That's amazing and awesome. Congrats to you and welcome to the family. I'm grateful to have you all around. Yes, I have no choice, CZ, but we did find a home that we're moving to, and I'm super excited because I will have a complete separate with a door space of my own for a studio, and also be able to put it decorate it up and I have it set up the way I want. You guys will have hopefully the fireplace back in the background and all that fun stuff like we used to do back in the day for the winter time. So thank you and welcome to the sauce, all you new meatballs. Very much appreciate it. I'm grateful to have you guys on board. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys 5 more. How about that? From me to you, from us to you, I should say. This is from us in the community, the moderators, myself, my production manager, my videographer, all of us that run this amazing channel, all of you, to all of you. So thank you for being so amazing, guys. And again, Team Bruner received a membership. Blue Eyes 05, The Mad Catter, Tandem 72, David Ferriello a 580. Amazing and welcome, guys. 10 new meatballs jumping in this awesome pot of sauce, guys. Thank you so much. So that you can help us to spill this sauce day after day. Thank you so much, Bat Sheet. I hope so too. Unfortunately, it's expensive. Of course, when you buy a house, which is this is our first time doing this, amazingly enough, uh, there's a lot to pay for. Um, we have to pay for closing still. That's not cheap. We also had to pay for an inspection and an appraisal and all these other fun things, and it costs a lot. So that's why I'm saying any and every dime that we get that goes through our cash apps will be donated directly to that and our move and all that. So anybody that has donated thus far, thank you so much. It's so very much appreciated, not just for myself, but from my entire family, my wife, my son, my mother-in-law. We all appreciate you all so much for helping to facilitate this. And anybody that will do it in the future, thank you in advance. You guys are amazing, and we love you all so very much. Cat K, welcome. Welcome to the family, Team Bruner. Thank you, G Bean. Thank you so much, Bat Sheet, again. Absolutely, Jeebs. And yeah, I do. I like the fireplace too, Becca. I think it gives a nice ambiance to the background. I have an idea for the office, the studio. It's going to look really nice when I'm done with it, I hope. Thanks, Cruddy. Appreciate that, my friends, very much. Has anybody in here heard of the Colin Gillis case, cold case from 2012? Anybody at all? And if you don't, you don't have to answer. I'm just curious how many people may know about it. And if not, it'll prove my point as to why we're doing this tonight. Michelle F., welcome, dear. I agree, Cap. I agree. And I have different variations of it I can use. I loved it. So, sorta. Okay. Good stuff, Jeebs. There's some names in it that I was familiar with, but it was very light on what I knew. So, you guys are going to learn about it tonight for sure. Looks like we got 51 beautiful people in here tonight. 38 likes, guys. Please hit that like button. Thank you for that gift, Realize. God bless, hon. Dropping them jewels. Appreciate that very much. So does Manny. This case, CZ, is based out of Tupper Lake, New York, in upstate New York. It is not in Salisbury. All right, guys. 50 people in the house, 38 likes. Let's see if we can make that match for the algorithm and for the channel itself. Please and thank you. Thank you, CZ. Thank you, Bat Sheet. Appreciate that. There'll be more. There's a dancing. I have partially created a girlfriend that's breakdancing in the background of him, like him, so on and so forth. So just to make it a little more fun for you guys and to show you a little more thanks. Green Girl, thank you so much for those jewels. Appreciate that. Did it. Thank you, Liz. Like I said here, once I roll into this case a little bit and discuss a little bit with you, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in to allow all of you awesome people to express your opinions on this, what your thoughts are, what you think and feel about this, and the fact that it's gone since 2012 with nothing. They found nobody. This young 18-year-old young man whose life was just starting just disappeared one night walking down a road. Nobody, no no answers, no nothing. But there are people that know, in my opinion, exactly what happened with Cullen, and they refuse to talk about it. I don't know if it's out of fear, if it's out of stubbornness, or what. And people have died in the background of this case, folks. People that know things have passed away of drug overdoses, conveniently enough. Think about that. Oh my goodness. Our Jersey girl in the house dropping 5 new memberships. Thank you so much, Realize. God bless, hon. And it looks like Bat Sheet Crazy got one. Megan Gillian, 6820. Chiefs, 1511. Joanne, 7891. And let me see. Lukaka Live or Luke Lukaka. I think I'm saying it right. Live. I hope I am. My apologies. If not, thank you so much again, Realize, and welcome to the sauce. 15 new meatballs joining us tonight. That's awesome. Thank you so much again, Realize. God bless, hon. And welcome to the family, all of you. Look, Miss Bat Sheet, welcome back to the sauce, dear. I think you used to be in it a long time ago. Well, it's great to have you back. And if not, welcome for the first time. All right. Let me get this up and moving. Meaty sauce. I gotcha. She likes a meaty sauce, as do I. I don't like marinara. It's boring. That's right. Thank you, Miss Rowe. Welcome to all the new meatballs. We appreciate ya. All right, guys. Give me 1 minute to set this up, and we're gonna kick this off. Okay. That sheet feels swishy now. Yeah, me too. Every time we talk about meatballs, I want them too, Rogue. All right, guys, let me see here. 1 minute. Hey, Bubbles in the house. Miss Kim, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I think you guys really are going to enjoy this. It's very interesting. So I hope. Give me a minute. I'm going to throw something in 13 years ago. Okay, hold on. This is what we'll kick this off with. Thank you all for joining me tonight and all of you being here for this. This really needs a lot of attention, in my opinion. Let me know if you guys hear everything. Okay. Hey, Dylan's in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Miss Rowe, great to see you. Let me see. Miss Tandy, welcome to you, dear. And thank you to the moderators that are joining us in here. I appreciate you all very much. Moonlit Baby, great to see you. Cat K, sound is good. Thank you. Bubbles, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your evening. Let me change this background for you guys. Sorry. All right. All right. Let me move this and get this started.
6 months since the sudden, mysterious disappearance of a Tupper Lake teen. Family members are holding out hope as police continue to look for leads.
This is old. It's almost 14 years old. The quality I see you, Tandy. The quality is kind of crappy, so please bear with it.
As to the whereabouts of Colin Gillis. News Channel 5's Heather Van Arsdale spoke with the boy's father and joins us live with the story. Heather.
Well, on September 11th, Colin Gillis had been missing for 6 months. The 18-year-old disappeared in March, practically without a trace. Here's the latest on the investigation. John Gillis recalls the night his 18-year-old son never came home.
Around midnight, so when he didn't show up at 1, 2, I was like, well, he probably crashed somewhere and hooked up with his friends.
Colin Gillis vanished on March 11th while home in Tupper Lake from college for the weekend. In the days and weeks following a massive search, hundreds of volunteers scoured the woods, hoping to find any evidence of the teen, who was last seen walking westbound on Route 3 in Piercefield. The only thing authorities found was his driver's license on the road. And after grueling searches, they didn't find anything else. No cell phone, no article of clothing. The initial large-scale search is long since over, and still no sign of Colin Gillis. Police say more large-scale searches are possible, depending on new leads that come in.
We're still optimistic that that we'll find him.
But that hasn't stopped his father from looking on his own. He tracks the area he covers with a detailed map, which so far is 500 miles of logging roads and unpaved trails.
There comes a point where you realize that you've looked every probable place.
But he says his family is not giving up and describes Colin as a strong, bright kid.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, you guys. The audio on this is horrible. It's from 13 years ago, and it sucks. Please bear with it. I'm so sorry.
Close with his two brothers and a good son. While acknowledging the ordeal has been difficult, he's overwhelmed by the outpouring of support the community has given his family.
Some people took the whole week off. And there was food for 3 meals a day for anyone that showed up and searched. I mean, that's just incredible when you think about it. Absolutely incredible.
There is a reward of $10,000 being offered for any information leading to Colin's whereabouts. And Colin's father told me today they plan on raising that reward even more. Anyone with information is asked to call New York State Police at 897-2000. Heather Van Arsdale, News Channel 5.
Okay, so that was 13 years ago. And this is so sad because that gentleman is still looking for his son every day with no answers. The FBI was involved in this. The Tupper Lake Police, the county, well, they don't have any now, but they did then. They have been out looking, or they were back then. Of course, you know how long these searches will go until they shut them down. It's very sad. Still no answer to anything. No closure, no nothing, and this father is still looking for his son with no answers, and that bothers me. Okay, that's why I do these cold cases, because they just don't get anywhere near enough airplay. So, let's see here. All right, we jumped into this. Get you guys the info and the pieces of info that I have. One minute. Why is things doing this tonight? Just a second. Thank you, Ro. All right, now I got it working. There we go. Good Lord. 1 minute. I don't know what's going on tonight. All right, here we go. Must be some kind of a weird glitch or something. No. Yeah. Thank you for your patience, guys. Nothing ever goes the right way. Thank you again, Ro, and thanks, SRP. Bubbles. Guys, please hit the like button and share it out. Here we go.
This time on Weeknight Mysteries, we're back, and my name is Yuras, and I'm here with my co-host Rain. How are you?
Hello, everyone. As always, completely good. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm actually glad that we are able to record kind of on a more regular basis, seems like.
A little too soon to say,
A little too soon to say,
but we'll try our best.
we'll try our best, and this is essentially starting off on the right foot again.
Of course.
Also, milestone, we hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So,
Woohoo!
with a man who seemed like he was going to do great things in his life, a very smart man that was really looking to become a doctor eventually, and the way that he vanished essentially 12 years ago, it's pretty baffling. We want to talk about Colin Gillis' disappearance case. Colin Gillis was last seen on Sunday, March 11th in 2012, 12 years ago. He was last seen at around 1:45 a.m.-ish in the town of Tupper Lake in New York State. It's a very small town. He was walking alone on State Route number 3 near the Franklin and...
You know what I just realized? This one's kind of hard to understand their English, so maybe I'll show you guys a different variation of this. Hold on. I have a couple versions, so let me jump to this other one real quick. Kind of surprised. Just a minute. Frisco Chick, welcome and thank you for joining us. Very much appreciated. Great to have you in the house. Let's go with this one. The English is a little bit clearer and easier to understand words, so we'll go there. Congratulations. Welcome to the Sauce, Frisco Chick. Thank you for joining us. God bless. Appreciate you. Welcome, Cat Lady. Great to see you tonight. All right, guys, let's go this direction instead, just in case I don't want anybody to misunderstand anything. All right.
After leaving a party in upstate New York, sparking one of the...
Welcome back to the Franzak Files, where we shine a light into the shadows of unresolved mysteries, lost identities, and the people who refuse to stop searching for the truth. I'm Tracy Hastings.
And I'm Paul Jack Franzak. Today, we're taking you deep into the case of Colin Gillis, a young man who vanished in 2012 after leaving a party in upstate New York, sparking one of the most extensive searches in the region's history.
Colin's family has never stopped looking, and today we explore what happened that night, what the investigation uncovered, and what still keeps this case open in the hearts of those who knew him.
So settle in and join us as we walk through the disappearance of Colin Gillis, a story filled with heartbreak, unanswered questions, and a community still searching for closure. Welcome back to another episode of the Franzak Files. As someone with a missing family member, I and the rest of the team are extremely passionate about cold cases. Today we'll be sharing a cold case file to bring renewed media attention and hopefully generate new leads for investigators.
Today we'll be highlighting the disappearance of Colin Gillis, who's been missing from Tupper Lake, New York since 2012.
Since 2012, Tracy.
That's a long time ago, huh?
That's a long time. That's the year I started my DNA journey with my parents when I got the results back.
Interesting how these cases seem to circle back sometimes, right? To connections on other levels you weren't expecting.
Yeah, key moments in time.
we've decided that we want to highlight some of these cold cases for that very reason, because you have a cold case in your own family, and the second oldest missing persons case in New Jersey. And so you understand what that feels like, right? To have a missing family member.
Yeah, that's not good. And there's so many people out there who are in the same situation, and all they want to do is find answers, find the truth. So maybe by casting this wider net on all these different cases, maybe we can bring more attention. Maybe it might jog someone's memory. It might bring a tip or a lead that can actually help solve these horrible cases.
That's what we're hoping for, that someone might have heard something, seen something. They just maybe aren't aware that whatever information they might have is important. And we've always said, if you see something, say something, right?
Right.
If you have information, even if you don't think it means anything to you, it could mean everything to the people working the case. And we know that from our own experience, that just the tiniest little bit of information can totally change the course of an investigation.
Yeah, that one little tip that you thought was meaningless could change the course of a whole investigation.
Absolutely. It sort of reminds me of when you got your first initial email from CC Moore, and you just sort of were like, I'll get back to her on that one.
Yeah.
Not realizing that she was going to be pivotal in starting to uncover the mysteries of your identity. So you just never know where it's going to come from.
You never do. And since that happened, I've tried to answer and vet every single lead and tip that comes in, because you never know, that might be the one you need.
That was a lesson learned, right? You never know who's going to be holding the keys to the door you're trying to open. And she was holding some big keys.
The keys to the kingdom.
And so by highlighting these cold cases, we're hoping that we can do the same for potentially some of these families that have missing family members as well.
That's right. And like you said, it's very important. If you think you know something.
And I'll tell you right now, there's going to be some misquotes in here that I do know the truth to, and I will fix it as we hear them. So just a heads, I'm trying to get through some of this other stuff. Here we go.
That you know is true, that hopefully will help solve this case.
Yeah. How many times have we seen podcasts or videos? This is what his description was.
There we go.
A little bit of history on him. He was born March 4th, 1994, which would currently make him 31 years old today. And he was 18 at the time he disappeared.
He's described as 6 foot, weighing about 170. He was last seen wearing a medium white short sleeve American Eagle V-neck shirt with black stripes, size 34-32 blue boot cut Levi's, size 10 red high top Nike Air sneakers, and an orange LL Bean backpack. He has blonde hair, blue eyes, and a scar on his left shoulder blade.
We didn't get information about what caused the scar or like the shape of the scar. We didn't get any further details on that, just that the scar exists.
So let's talk about the location where this happened, Tupper Lake, New York. This seems to be kind of a Bermuda Triangle for people going missing.
It's interesting, isn't it? That certain places in the country tend to have a high number of people that go missing there.
It's like an X-file.
Absolutely. And, Tupper Lake, this area is rather small. It's in Franklin County, New York, and the population is about 3,200 people. So when people think about New York, and as a native New Yorker myself, they think of New York City, right? So New York is the city. Well, unbeknownst to a lot of Americans, there's a whole other state attached to the northern part of New York City. And a lot of it is rural. There are larger cities, of course. You have Syracuse, Rochester, Albany, Buffalo, all of those large cities that most people have heard of in upstate. But in between all of those large cities and outside of them are small villages, hamlets, with these small populations. There's still a lot of farm country there in upstate, a lot of orchards and cattle farms and dairy farms. So it seems strange to hear about a small town, 3,200 people. This is not uncommon in upstate New York. Actually, I myself am from a very small city in upstate New York, a very small village. If there's 2,000 people in it, I'd be shocked. There's one stoplight in the town. So this is very common to have these small outlying areas. And his hometown actually borders the Adirondack Park, which is the largest publicly protected area in the U.S. with 6 million acres of wilderness. And so you've got a huge expanse of space where people can disappear to and never be found, potentially.
Yeah. It's funny. I used to live in Manhattan. And whenever people would tell me about where they came from to get to Manhattan, I was like, well, where's that? because all I knew about was Manhattan, and that was my home. I never went, outside that area.
Right. When they're like, I came from Hoboken, you're like, where?
Even though I was born in Jersey, I should know where that is.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So, putting it into context, this is not New York City. This is a very rural area next to a very large swath of protected land by the government, which, of course, we know that when the government owns property, that adds complications to restrictions to being able to go on the property, what you can do on the property, and who has access to it.
So this Adirondack Park reminds me of, I used to watch The Sopranos, and there was an episode called The Pine Barrens, one of my favorite episodes, and his brothers Lyndon and Ian. In 2011, he graduated from Tupper Lake High School. During high school, he played basketball and football. He skipped a grade and was extremely intelligent. At the time of his disappearance, he was a pre-med student at the State University of New York, Brockport. Growing up, Colin had been a Boy Scout and was very familiar with the outdoor terrain of Tupper Lake. John Gillis, his father, is a local woodworker. He's also a current councilman in Tupper Lake. Patty Gillis helps run the family woodworking shop. His grandmother, Maggie, began Gillis Realty in the town and also served on the library board. His grandfather, Bob, served on the town board. The Gillis family had strong ties to the small, tight-knit community.
Now, they were clearly very active in community life, with his father owning a local business and being a councilman, his mother owning a real estate company. People know realtors, right? Especially in a small town. Probably one of the few realtors in that town selling properties there. So, and having had grandparents who were also actively involved. So this is a family that was known to the community. And also for someone to skip a grade, that's sort of uncommon. And so I'm sure Colin was a well-known student as well for being very bright, skipping a grade, and then being a pre-med student at SUNY Brockport. That's not an easy course of study to undertake.
Plus playing sports. He was athletic and smart.
So you've got the combination of all of that, which in a small town pretty much gives you the all-American boy, right? You've got the people looking at that family saying, wow, look at this family. They seem so normal and so successful, and really involved in their community. And anyone that we've seen quotes from have said, what a nice family that they were.
Yeah. Wow. So now let's go into the last known whereabouts in the case description.
So Saturday, March 10th, 2012. Colin is home from college spring break, hanging out with his friends, presumably, and probably glad to be back home for a little while. According to reports, he had dinner with his parents at about 8:30, and from there, he left to go to a party at a private residence in the neighborhood.
He left the party after an apparent altercation. He was last seen by a passing motorist on Sunday at 1:45 a.m., walking southbound on State Route 3, Lawrence County line towards Piercefield. The motorist, Richie Rosentreader, was a man who previously worked as a local reporter and was driving his elderly mother home from the casino. This stretch of road is not heavily traveled, especially at that time of day. He didn't feel comfortable stopping with his mother in the vehicle, but noticed that...
Now, I will tell you guys that it was March. It is upstate New York, but it was unseasonably warm, okay? It was not freezing, 20 below zero, none of that stuff. It was very warm. When Colin left his home that night after dinner and all that, he went out in a T-shirt. He had a backpack that he had some clothes in, including a jacket, but he wasn't wearing one because it was, probably 50s or 60s in March, which we've experienced in the wintertime not being freezing like it should be. It stays warm from time to time. So that's why he was wearing what he was wearing, just so everybody knows that is something that they've stated. In some aspects, it's not true.
Colin was acting strangely. The motorist reportedly came back to town after dropping his mother home, reporting the activity to the police. State police responded about 40 minutes later. Operating within a huge geographical area, law enforcement is generally stretched thin in this location. No one was found when the state trooper responded. After he didn't return home, his parents reported Colin missing at 5:30 p.m.
So let's dig into this, right? Let's dig into his last known whereabouts and what we know and what we don't know. Up until the point that he leaves for the party, right? Everything seems sort of normal. He's having dinner with his family and he's going to go hang out with friends. Nothing unusual about this. However, the idea that he left the party after an altercation, that's all that we really know.
I'd like to know who, what, why was that altercation all about?
If this was the catalyst to him leaving the party, yeah. Who was it? What was it about? How far did it go? What are the details there? And the details are sketchy. There's really not a lot of information available out there. This is from witnesses at the party who stated there was an altercation. Not a lot of details about it, though, which, I mean, to me feels like the devil is in the details, right? We need to know who that altercation was with, what it was about.
This is a small town, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure everyone knew everybody.
Absolutely. At a party like that, a house party, I'm sure everyone knew everyone. So it begs the question, why is there so little information available about the altercation itself?
And he was walking down the street at 1:45 a.m. That's pretty late in the night or early in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's March and it's New York. So it's cold.
And why was he walking? Did he drive to the party? Did he have a ride to the party?
Those are all good questions. How did he get to the party?
Welcome, Deb Tutro and Turkey Creek. Thank you all for joining us tonight for this. I appreciate it so very much.
You would imagine if he drove himself, he probably wouldn't have been walking. So that's another key detail. How did he get there to the party? And then how did he end up walking down the road at 1:45 in the morning?
And why wouldn't he call his parents or ask someone for a ride if he couldn't access his car if he had a car there?
Exactly. I mean, it's 2012. People did have cell phones then. No knowledge if Colin did or did not have a cell phone. But we certainly know that, the party he was at, there was probably a phone somewhere in the house. He could have used somebody's cell phone.
So upon research, I found out Miss Ashmus, welcome. He did have a phone of sorts, okay? That Colin actually had reached out to an ex-girlfriend. Her name is, I have part of her name, Jessica. And Fiji, welcome. And had, obviously, as we know, there was an altercation at the party. He took off walking and left and was headed in a direction going somewhere. My understanding is that he reached out to his ex-girlfriend, Jessica, and told her what was going on and asked her if she could possibly pick him up, or maybe she offered. So that's part of the case that a lot of that information is not out here. As he's walking in that direction, I'm guessing is what he said, "Hey, I'm heading towards you. Can you come pick me up?" Blah, 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 whatever. So that part, they're not going to explain to you, I don't think. But that is something I had found out.
To make a phone call to ask someone to come and get him. As far as we know, no, he did not make any such phone call.
And I'm sure a pre-med student that's living away at college would have a cell phone, assuming they have cell service in this small town.
Sure, which at that time, could be a problem. I experienced the same thing when I would go back home.
And here's the thing, guys. I think the reason why a lot of these people that talk about this don't know about that, she never came forward with that information. His ex-girlfriend that was talking to him, so on and so forth, never came forward. Never said, "Hey, I was talking to him when this happened. This is what happened, and I'll tell you a little something else here going on." But never spoke on that. And it's interesting to me as to why. I would like to know that.
At that time,
yeah, Colin was with a group of friends that supposedly were not invited. And it's weird because my understanding is the altercation happened at the party was because of about his ex-girlfriend. I don't know exactly what was said or done, who was involved. I do know to some aspect, which I'll get into here in a little bit, but I don't know what actually started it and what it was about Jessica that started the argument.
There was sort of an intermittent cell service in those smaller towns. At that time, that certainly could have been a problem.
Okay, but then it goes back to your point where I'm sure the house had a phone in it.
Absolutely. There was probably, especially if you don't have good cell service, most people are still going to hold on to a landline. So there would have been that ability to pick up the phone and call someone. So the questions start, right? Why does this smart kid who skipped a grade and is a pre-med major making these choices that don't seem to make a lot of sense?
And usually when there's something like that happens, there are names that were involved.
And as we get a little bit further into the case, we don't necessarily mention names, but there are some suspects that live in the area.
Okay, good.
So as we move through the story, we're going to get some information about potential suspects. No names because no one's been formally charged, so we are unable to do that. But we can give a little bit of context.
Okay, good. I'm excited.
And then for this Mr. Rosentreater, who saw him as he was driving his mother home from the casino, obviously this made an impact on him. He remembered it very clearly. He identified Colin, that was the man he saw walking down the street, and he did say that he was acting strangely.
So that line kind of hit me because it's 1:45 in the morning. It's dark out. How would somebody act strangely when they're walking down the street?
Right. We don't have any details about what was strange. Was he staggering? Was he walking backwards? What was it?
Was he juggling?
Right, exactly. I mean, you see someone on a dark road at 1:45 in the morning, it's going to catch your attention, especially because we know this is not a highly traveled road. So it's a rural area, and this is not, a freeway going through this town. So we know that it's not a highly traveled track of road. So, of course, seeing someone walking at that time of the morning in March in upstate New York, it's going to catch your attention. But what else was he doing that caused this gentleman to report that he was acting strangely? We're unable to take a look at the police report to see if there was any further details that he might have provided beyond what was reported in the newspapers. And that's essentially what was reported.
And also, it's a small town, and it's 1:45, or depending on how long it took him to take his mom home. But when he told the police, it took him 40 minutes to respond.
You see, nobody really clarifies how was he acting strangely. Was he intoxicated, staggering, any of that, Cap? It's a good question. I mean, was he walking hard, angry, stomping as he's walking? Was he talking to himself? All of that I think is very important, but nobody really wanted to talk to the police. That's always a problem. We all know when people do not want to speak to police on cases like this, what that usually means, guys. And there is definitely some more to this, as far as that kind of stuff goes. So on we go. Very vague, Cap. Very vague. And see, that guy could have stopped, rolled down his window and said, "Hey, you okay? What's going on? What's this? What's that?" And he didn't. On his way back, nothing. Okay.
It's our understanding that after he took his mother home, that he came, after he came back to town, dropped his mother off, and then he reported this to the police. So we don't really have a clear timeline as far as, we know approximately what time this man saw Colin walking down the road. But we don't know how long it took him necessarily to get back to dropping his mother off and then getting back to town, dropping her off, and then calling the police. We don't know what the time frame was there. But then we do know that it did take the police about 40 minutes from the time he called to respond to the area where he indicated that he had last seen Colin. And when they got there, there was nobody there.
And it's interesting to understand, and this should help you guys to understand this. Colin wasn't making a lot of advancement on his walk. So when the guy that left passed him the first time on the way to came back, he hadn't gotten very far. Well, my understanding is because he was kind of waiting there for this ex-girlfriend to pick him up. Not walking very much. He would walk a little bit, then he'd stand and wait for her, is what I'm imagining. So he doesn't have to keep walking. So that's why he's not advancing very far on this walk, and people are seeing him not moving too much. That's my guess. So
there wasn't a trace of anyone.
And that his parents didn't report him missing until 5:30 that evening.
Which is also...
well, he could, Cap. That's true. But again, like I said, it was very unseasonably warm that time of year. From my reports, it was like 50s, 60s in March. Okay. In upstate New York is odd, which is why he was walking without a coat or a jacket on. He just had a t-shirt on because of that weather. You know what I mean? So the hypothermia thing, I don't think would have kicked in. Good point though. In normal weather, yeah, 100%, happened.
odd, right? So he leaves the house 8:30, 9 o'clock the night before, and they don't report him missing until 5:30 the next afternoon. Now, granted, he is 18, so at that point in time, he would have fallen under the rule that, you know, if they're over 18, they can disappear, and we don't, you know, if somebody wants to disappear, they can, and we don't have to pursue this. So they might have been aware of that and waited. We do know, however, as we move through the story, we do know that his family and friends had been searching for him themselves prior to reporting him missing at 5:30 in the afternoon. They had started their own search.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I mean, it's entirely possible, if we're spitballing, that his parents did call the police and say, he's missing. We last saw him last night.
Now, one of the stories that I had come upon was that when he was talking on the phone to this ex-girlfriend, Jessica, that she heard what she thought was a truck go by, and that Colin yelled out to the truck, "Fuck you," whatever. And then the phone went dead, from my understanding, I believe. Don't quote me on that part of it, but she heard that. Now, it could be that she heard more than that and didn't want to speak on it. But the story that I got was that she heard that as he was walking. This truck goes by, may have said or yelled at him or said something, and he yelled, "F you." And then the phone hangs up or something in that aspect. So, interesting. Very interesting. Meanwhile, my question is, where is Jessica? How long does it take to get? My understanding is this town is very small. You could walk anywhere in this town in 15 minutes. Where is she? If she set it out to pick him up, where is she and why hasn't she gotten there yet? Okay? This is my question.
This is what we know. And they might have said, you can't file a report. It's not 24 hours. And so something delayed their ability to file an official report.
Yeah.
The thing that sends up the red flags about this case is all the holes in it. There's so much informational holes here that these things seem like they should be obvious. They should be part of the record. And there's so much missing from what we're helping us understand exactly what happened.
Well, you know, like they always say, the first 48. After that window shuts. And you have over a half a day here just gone.
Right. And we don't know necessarily, the police obviously weren't doing anything. What we do know is that.
And that is an interesting point. Law enforcement isn't doing anything. I think that plays into this a little bit. Okay. This is just my opinion, that there's a reason for that. And I'll get to that a little bit later on as we go through.
That apparently his driver's license. So Colin's driver's license was located near the Franklin St. Lawrence County line in that general area where he was last seen by the motorist. So they found that there, but that's the only thing that they found was his driver's license. There was no wallet. There was no other paraphernalia of his, no clothes, no keys, nothing like that. Only his license was recovered.
So extensive searches for Colin over land, water, and air have been undertaken, both by family and law enforcement. Almost immediately following his disappearance, his father and other families searched the wilderness for any trace. John Gillis is said to have personally tracked over 500 miles of logging roads and unpaved trails searching for his son.
I mean, that's huge. That's a huge amount of ground to cover.
Now, what time frame are we looking?
Thank you, Angel D. I love you, dear, and I appreciate you very much.
at? Do we know?
I think that encompasses a long time initially after his disappearance. More than obviously the day he disappeared. He obviously couldn't have covered 500 miles on foot, but I think that's like a cumulative number, starting from the moment that he was, that was determined that he was missing. When his license was found and they knew there was a problem, I think he started the clock running there. And so over probably in a lifetime of searching, he's probably done about 500 miles on foot looking for his child.
On March 13th alone, over 400 volunteers
and is still looking for him.
From the local community banded together to search. Groups including the Department of Environmental Conservation, state police, and local fire departments joined in. Helicopters from the U.S. Army out of Fort Drum additionally were utilized in the search. State police divers thoroughly searched Raquette River and Raquette Pond. Over the course of the investigation, over 500 leads from people all over the country have been run down. A reward was offered by Colin's family. Billboards were placed all over the Tupper Lake area. Still, Colin has never been found. It breaks my heart, Tracy.
It's devastating, especially when all of those resources were being utilized and came up with nothing. The only thing of his that's ever been recovered is his driver's license. After all of that searching, that's all that was found.
And that is not completely true either. Colin, they did find other items of his backpack items and clothing and pieces in different places, but most importantly, they found his cell phone. They found it way deep in the woods, way, way, way back deep in the wooded area, as if somebody had gone back in there and threw it as far as they could back in the area to hide it, to make it disappear, per se, okay? Not that nothing else of his was found in this area. He was not found in this area, but his phone was found in this area, okay? And that's interesting to me because it was way, way deep back in these woods, from my understanding. And again, a lot of people don't know all of these specific details that I know because of the research that I was able to get involved with on this. And the way that I was told these things and not told, but the way I found these things out, I'm sorry. So anyway, it's an interesting point that one item of his was so far off the beaten path and away from the area that he was in. So I think that tells a little story on its own.
And if someone went to the trouble to cause him harm, why would they just leave a license behind? Why not just take everything?
Right.
Yeah, I do have some Reddit posts to go over with you that are going to point to some very interesting points, guys.
If there was some type of altercation that happened on the road at that time, you would think if the license was found, so would a wallet have been found, a watch, something that would have flown off, fallen off, been torn off during an.
Hey, I agree with her. And here's some other points too, guys. There are some people that have spoke on this, okay? Very few, but a couple of them. And amazingly enough, they're dying. They're deceased. One of them that stepped forward and spoke on this died from a drug overdose. We've heard that story before, okay? Very interesting. Very interesting. Another person I do believe that was possibly spoke out on this died the same way. Something is wrong with that, folks, okay? Something is not right when it comes to, we've covered many cases, I have at least, where people that may have knowledge of situations just conveniently either die of suicide or drug overdoses conveniently. It's very convenient. And I do believe it is not true. I don't think this happens the way that they explain it, is all I'm saying.
Altercation on the road, that you wouldn't just have a random license laying in the street or laying in the grass or with nothing else besides that. That's a strange piece of evidence to leave behind with nothing else to go with it.
I agree.
Usually a reward can bring people out of the woodwork if they think they have any tips or information. And to this day, nothing has come of the reward. And no other identifying pieces of evidence have been found, despite such a huge, huge search for him.
Yeah, that's just crazy. So why don't you talk about the suspects, Tracy?
The suspects get a little sketchy just because no one's been formally charged with this crime. So there's things that we can and cannot reveal because of that. And you know, locally, if anyone has any experience with small towns, everyone knows everyone, right? And everyone has their own speculations, their own thoughts and ideas when something like this happens, who might have been responsible, what might have happened. So these are good people to talk to if you're looking to form a theory, because we don't know. We don't live there. We didn't experience this. So on the local level, there is many people in the surrounding areas who point to a local family, is what we're going to call them, of having some kind of involvement in Colin's disappearance, stemming from the fact that a boy and his cousin were among the last to speak to Colin prior to his disappearance. So this is information that came from people at the party, is our understanding, that there's a boy who we cannot identify by name and his cousin, who we also cannot identify by name, who were at this party. And they were among the last people to speak to him. And it is reported that they offered to give Colin a ride, which he declined. So they're not saying that the
Okay. Now, this is where the story is definitely different than what they're telling them or telling the world, because there's things being hidden. Okay. There's a group of people that were together at this party. One of the people at this party, I will tell you this: the person that he had the altercation with at the party was somebody by the name of Tim Larkin. That was known to the world that he got into that altercation with him. And that is the person, and from my understanding, it turned into like an all-out brawl, like fist fight type thing. Okay. I'm not sure what her name is, but the channel name is Franzak Files Micro. I dropped a link a couple times in here. I think her name is Tracy. Uh, for those of you that were wondering, the lady that's speaking. But the channel name is the Franzak Files. It's up on the screen right there, and I just throw the link. I'll put it right here for you. Again, there we go. So that is one name I do know, that I can honestly say that is who he had the altercation with. That is one thing that we do know. Okay. I don't know if they're going to say that or if they're not going to say that. I don't know if he was ever made a suspect in this case, but I do know that that is the person that was involved with him in the argument or disagreement, whatever you want to call it. So
altercation happened necessarily between Colin and this boy and his cousin, because that'd be strange, right? They had an altercation and then they offered him a ride. I mean, it's certainly possible that they had an altercation, offered him a ride. He obviously would have declined it because.
Also, they claimed that Colin and his friends were not invited to the party. The problem with that statement was, and this came from other people too, that they would have not known about the party unless they were invited because of the type of party it was. Now, the party, from my understanding, was held at that Mr. Larkin at his grandmother's house. Okay. And that somebody or some people within the group, maybe even including Colin himself, were invited to this party. Now, was this done on purpose? Was he invited to the party to get him there? Because he had been out of town for schooling and stuff like that, came home for spring break, and people may have heard about it and turned, hey, he's here, he's home, whatever. And then I've heard of this, people inviting you to a party for nefarious reasons to start shit with you or whatever you want to call it. It could be, or he was actually invited as somebody that they liked. Okay. It seems that way, Sammy. It does. So Larkin is the one who had the fight. Larkin has a very well-known family name, very important within the community. They own a lot of businesses, so on and so forth. Just a couple little points to point out to make you understand the basis of that.
He wouldn't want to go anywhere with these people, and they might have followed him and found him on the road as he was walking wherever he was headed to. Of course, none of that has been able to be corroborated. But Colin apparently declined the offer for a ride. So that's information that tells us, okay, that puts him on the road at 1:45 in the morning. So if they were offering him a ride home, that sort of clears up the idea that he probably didn't drive himself to the party.
Which, no, it's believed that he didn't. So here's the thing, guys. The truck that, quote unquote, the ex-girlfriend heard, okay, it had Mr. Larkin in it. From my understanding, there was a female driving it. And one of the people that were one of the witnesses that passed away from overdose, and I believe another one that was in that vehicle is actually, there's only two people that were in that truck that are still with us. Mr. Larkin and one other person that were witnesses to whatever went on that night. Okay. This is the problem with this. And there's a couple different stories. One is what they just told you about them offering him a ride. I've heard another completely different story, and I'm going to tell you, I don't believe they offered him a ride. And in fact, I believe the absolute opposite of that. Okay. So I'll just leave that there for right now as we go forward.
If he had his own vehicle, he would have taken his own vehicle. And that, as far as these two boys are concerned, one of them, the boy that's not referred to as the cousin, but the boy, he's passed away, as has the boy's brother has passed away as well.
As has his father. Him, which is one of the witnesses, his brother, which I believe was one of the witnesses, was in the truck, is gone as well, as his father as well, all from the same thing, which was listed as an overdose. That's a very interesting point in this whole thing, guys. It's very strange, but very interesting.
These are two people who could have provided additional information if they were able to be spoken to, if we could have looked them up and maybe made a phone call and gotten some more information out of them. They both passed. The cousin, however, is still living, is our understanding. And at one point in time was involved in a rollover accident where he was the driver and a passenger was killed in this car accident. So that sort of segues into this family's history with the law. So on the surface, this all seems pretty benign, right? Kids at a party, they had an altercation.
Okay, so let's not gloss over the fact that these boys both died very young.
They did.
Okay, it looks like the younger brother passed on September 11th, 2021 at the age of 27. His older brother passed away on February 23rd, 2025 at the age of 35. That alone, I mean, that makes you question things. How did that happen?
Yeah, those two people, those ages don't jive. So what's going on there? Why did these two brothers pass away so young? And what we know about their family as well is that they've got a long, extensive history, criminal history. All of them, including the father of these two boys, also has a long criminal record. Significant brushes with the law from 1995 right up until the present day. A lot of driving while intoxicated charges, several drug charges, including possession, 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child in 1999, and 1 count in 2005. Criminal contempt in the first degree and harassment in the second degree in 2003. There's an arson charge thrown in there, and acting in a manner injurious to a child less than 17. So this family is not the Cleavers, right? They don't have a problem breaking the law. And in small town, right, you've got those families that even have law enforcement intimidated. I mean, they'll arrest them and whatever because they have to, but these guys know they're going to get out, right? We'll go in front of the judge and everything will be fine. And, these are repeat offenders who were never, put in prison for a long period of time. They would offend, then they'd be back on the street to offend again. And what we know is that people with criminal history, they tend to be more involved in these other types of crimes, and they escalate as well.
And don't forget, folks, in small town justice is something that we see all the time. When you know people, you know people. When you're related to people, you're related to people. When you're close with important people within the town, things can happen to bury things, to sweep things under the rug, things like that. So remember that, please.
Yeah, and once again, we're just spitballing here. We're not saying that this family had anything to do with Colin's disappearance. But it is a coincidence in this small town that you have this going on.
And this was all reported as well on the local level.
And my understanding is that one of these brothers was under the influence of alcohol or something and started slinging some things about what happened that night, and then conveniently passes on from an overdose shortly thereafter, as well as his brother. And then at some point their father as well. So I don't know what the deal is. That could have just been, a sad coincidence. But the fact that 2 of the people that had knowledge of this, one of them specifically is speaking out on it, ends up dead, is kind of a little more than a coincidence to me. And the way it happened, from my understanding, I don't know 1,000,000%, but I'm very, very positive, almost positive that this person, the overdose was an injection. Whether it's H or something like that, but it was an injection, which take it for what it is. He could have done it to himself, and it was a true overdose, or something else may have happened, possibly to shut his mouth. We've seen this happen before. So just a thought to stew on a little bit.
And the newspapers and the news. And of course, chit chat in a small town.
And now let's really compound this because it's not bad enough. Let's throw in a serial killer. People pointed out that Israel Keys, a serial killer who committed a slew of additional crimes that operated in
Yes, this is very interesting as well. Listen to this closely.
Alaska, New York, Vermont, and Washington State. He had murdered a female victim and buried them along in the Raquette River just outside of Tupper Lake, and then robbed the community bank in Tupper Lake on April 13th, 2009. Investigators believe they have ruled Keys out because he was operating in Alaska in February of 2012.
Correct.
But, I mean, that's like the Bermuda Triangle of...
The fact that Keys was even there is just beyond ironic. It's just another good point to point out, like, wow.
I don't know, bad things?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly begs the question, like, geez, there was a serial killer operating in this area as well, who, all right, he was in Alaska in February of 2012. We also know that he's been in the Tupper Lake area as recently as 2009. And how hard is it to...
Yes, Israel was there. The FBI was involved in this case, and they have ruled him out, but it's still very wild that he was in this town around this area at some point in time, possibly. Very weird, very weird.
To get from Alaska to New York in 2012, not very. Especially if you're going back and forth between these places and committing your crimes for whatever his reason was for doing that. So although the law enforcement believes they've ruled him out because they could put him in Alaska in February of that year, well, this didn't happen until March. So it's, in my mind, it doesn't necessarily rule it out just because he happened to be in Alaska in February. This is as much a possibility, I think, as anything else.
Yeah, there's so many twists and turns in this. Let's get to our favorite part, theories.
Right? We love the theories. We sort of touched on them just a little bit as we've been moving through this.
So it seems like many people simply believe that Colin was disoriented, potentially from alcohol, and wandered off into the woods.
And that I will say I do not believe. Based on other things I've learned on this, that is the last thing I would believe on this.
Coming to exposure. However, Colin was extremely familiar with this outdoor area. The exhaustive search never found any sign of him. Hunters each year were asked to be on the lookout for Colin, but no tips were ever produced from this type of search. Others believe foul play is involved. He left the party due to a physical altercation. It's possible that someone wanted to continue the fight and either intentionally or unintentionally killed Colin. I don't know, Trace. What do you think?
I think any one of those is certainly possible. Exposure doesn't take long to set in if it's cold. So if you've got alcohol on board and you're disoriented, you're going in the wrong direction, you are, not sure where you're at, it's freezing cold, you're not dressed to be walking out in that weather. If you went to a party, jeans, shirt, throw a jacket on, you're not dressed to walk in sub-zero temperatures or even close to zero temperatures at that time. So, and exposure doesn't take very long to set in. So it's certainly possible. This is also a large hunting area. And so, and we heard stories, of course, about how hunters go out during hunting season and recover human remains. They find them in the woods while they're hunting, and they've been there for a long time. No hunters have recovered anything. So foul play is, of course, obviously the big one that's screaming here, because there is so many holes in the story that it seems a little coincidental. A lot of stuff that has fallen into place as far as an altercation, and the last people to see him and speak to him were this kids that have a long criminal history. And we don't know what the altercation was about. And we know, what do we know about teenagers? It doesn't have to be anything serious for it to become really serious.
So I guess a lot of people still believe that the man who offered Colin a ride might be responsible in the disappearance. Countless sleuthing message boards pose theories about where Colin might have ended up after such an encounter. In the wilderness, on an abandoned property, even potentially within the foundation of a home that was being constructed. So now the plot even thickens. So many people believe this previous theory and are shocked that 13 years after his disappearance, no headway has been made. Some have accused local law enforcement with charges of corruption. The man who offered Colin a ride that night was dating a woman. Her brother is a local police officer. Although no solid proof has come to light, this does cast suspicion. So let's jump into recent leads. What's the most recent thing that we've heard?
Well, in November of 2020, the state police went to the Old Noble farm property in Edwards, New York, off of County Route 24, which is about 50 miles west of Tupper Lake in St. Lawrence County. And they were bulldozing on this property. And the home was unoccupied at the time. It had apparently been involved in a fire at some point.
Now I'm going to point something out to you. There were areas in this town, okay? There's a lot of property owned by one specific family that I mentioned already. The family of the gentleman that was in the altercation specifically. That there was, as you saw, heavy equipment, machinery on this property. There was ear witness accounts of hearing at 3 a.m. this type of machinery starting up and moving, okay? In one specific area where they were doing types of construction. So there were people that claimed that they heard these machines start up at 3 a.m. There's nobody that's out doing this type of work at 3 a.m., so you have to wonder why, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'll put that out there and give you a little visual on that.
No one was living there, though, at the time. And the investigators then at the time would only say that they were, quote, following up on a tip on an older case. So this is when Colleen calls, our lead historical researcher calls to speak to someone in the area who was around then, who has any firsthand information about this. And she called the local newspaper to discuss the case. And the woman that she spoke to there is connected to one of the individuals in this story and confirmed that the search was actually for Colin Gillis, that is what they were doing on that property. The police wouldn't confirm it themselves, but we got corroboration that is what they were doing. We do not know, however, what prompted that, what tip prompted the search, but we do know that nothing came of it.
And investigators dug a 20 to 30-foot circle on the property. So once again, it's always comes back to digging.
Now, I also read something about there was a gentleman that brought in scent dogs and then at some point cadaver dogs, okay? And said that there was something not right. But when he found out that the FBI was involved, tucked tail and took off and would not speak to anybody. My understanding is that he's close to this other family that owns a lot of property in this town. Again, relating back to that gentleman that was in the altercation. I'm curious about this, is all I'm going to tell you. Why did you take off when you realized the FBI had some questions for you? And why would you not answer those questions? But he did not, and that was it. It was gone. I think that's very suspicious and very strange.
Yeah, for sure. And digging and not finding what you're looking for.
Let's talk a little bit about what we mentioned earlier about other missing local people.
This is sort of a vortex for missing people in this area. Apparently, there's 9 other people that have gone missing in Adirondack Park and have never been found. That's a lot of people, and especially from a small town, a small area.
You know, it's a huge area, though, right?
As far as people go, it's small, but as far as square mileage, it's huge. Yes.
Perfect storm for something bad to happen.
For sure. And it appears that Colin was a victim of some type of bad thing happening, along with apparently several other people as well who have gone missing and are still unaccounted for. We have Wesley Wamsgan, who went missing near Lake Placid on November 20th, 2010. He was 22 years old at the time. He left his job at the downtown diner that he worked at. He walked toward Adirondack trail without any proper supplies, food, or equipment, and was last seen by 2 hikers near the Mercy Dam, which is 2 miles down that trail. Only his green jacket was recovered near the Avalanche Pass. Nothing else has ever been found of him.
Now with that one, chances are he didn't leave his job and decided to go on a hike.
Exactly. That's
right.
Especially November.
Okay, just a little bit of an update. I was looking at this was playing the Israel Keys thing. Israel was not here when Colin went missing, so that does not fit at all. Just a heads up and an update on that part.
Again, this is cold weather. This is not the ideal time for anyone to be taking a walk anywhere.
And that's the same age group as Colin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it could be another
disappearance. This disappearance happened 2 years prior to Colin's, but same age group.
Could be a serial killer.
Could absolutely
targeting
be.
a certain age group.
Absolutely.
And who else has gone missing there?
We also will highlight another gentleman, George LaForest, who went missing from Indian Lake, New York, which is a community near Tupper Lake, on April 22nd, 2006. Now, he was 45 years old at the time he disappeared and was last seen on the morning of April 21st at his camp residence on Cedar River Road. So apparently some type of camper living arrangement, people living off the grid. And his truck was located several days later at the end of Benton Road in Indian Lake. And that's the only thing of Mr. LaForest that's ever been recovered is his vehicle.
Wow. Okay, I know where I'm not going to go on vacation.
True enough. I'm sure it's beautiful. I'm sure that the landscape is gorgeous and the hikes are breathtaking. It's also very dangerous, apparently.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is definitely eye-opening, and I hope that we're able to help solve this, or at least get some new eyes on it.
Yeah, ideally, that's what we're hoping for, is that we are going to trigger our listeners and our viewers' curiosity and see if maybe they can.
Yeah. If you'd like to learn more about this.
All right, so the rest of this is non-related to this. So let me give you a little more. Hold on here. Probably going to hear some of the same things, but it's a little bit more. 1 minute. Just bear with me 1 moment, guys. Please and thank you. Give you a little bits and pieces. And the sad part is there's not a lot that's been put out about this case, not even locally there, which is the strange part.
The search effort is going very well. Sometimes it takes some time to get up and go with the resources and a large number of volunteers. Unfortunately, again, this is the second day we've not located Colin, but the search will continue tomorrow.
On Sunday, his mother called, let us know that he had been missing since the previous evening.
This is Michael Colin's uncle. I'll move that so you guys can see it.
And knowing that he'd been missing at least overnight was very upsetting for us. So we encouraged her to certainly follow up with the state police, and we made arrangements to get up here as soon as we could.
And again, the outpouring from the community, as you just noted, is huge at 270, 300 people.
We're back in the woods, walking in lines of 12 people. We're moving through uneven terrain, snow's up to your knees, and creeks are flowing, and it's very, very hard walking.
It's a gathering, but we're here for a purpose that's sometimes very sad and sometimes very scary, and we are all aware of it, and we just keep that in our hearts the whole time you're here, and I think that's how everyone here feels.
I would say this is definitely out of the ordinary for him. Colin is a good kid, freshman at Brockport, SUNY Brockport, and I'm genuinely concerned for him.
Just keep picturing him and saying, "Okay, Colin, get out of there." That's all. And I think yesterday I kept hoping that maybe he had taken a ride and was someplace not close to here, and that's why we weren't finding him. And so I drove to Potsdam with brochures, the missing posters, and posted them online everywhere I could think of in Potsdam and Colton, thinking that maybe someone had seen him on the road, giving him a ride somewhere.
The progress we make is it's when we search an area and we know that someone's not in there, we can actually write that off and say at least we know he's not in that area, the subject. So we actually look at that as progress. But no, we've uncovered no further clues today.
Okay, there's just a little tidbit of that. And again, like I said, there's not a lot of it out here. Hold on. Bear with me, guys, as I pull this up. One minute. Okay. All right. So this gives some other info. I'm going to let you guys hear this real quick, or at least parts of it. I'll skip through some of the stuff you already know, but it's kind of important to hear.
Fourth episode of Murder Through the Grapevine. This is a podcast. If this is the first time you're listening, please check out our first 3 episodes where the beautiful Jessica, say hello, Jessica.
Hello.
And Mike, that has our names on them. Not nearly as nice as the gift that you got me. So,
yes, but what's really nice about these wine glasses, which
I do, Angel, very crazy story. Russell Williams, I do. Crazy story. Very interesting, but crazy. Thank you, Angel.
if you've got different wine glasses in the house, what's really interesting is for the
color disorder.
And it is New York State Police really can't share much about this, which means that they don't share a lot with anyone calling to ask questions, the press. There's not a lot out there. His family, of course, has shared a lot, so that's where you're getting most of the information from.
For sure. And as we normally do with every case, we go over just the facts as we know them. We know that Colin went missing March 11th, 2012 in the town of Tupper Lake, which is, again, in upstate New York, place where you and I have gone camping before. And it's one of the reasons that we picked Tupper Lake is because it is so desolate. There's a lot of places in upstate New York that used to be, especially around like Saranac Lake and Lake Placid, that you like to live out in the country. And our friend here, Colin Gillis, is a very intelligent kid. He skipped a grade, right, in high school.
Yeah.
But remember, a lot of his friends are a year younger.
Right. So, and this is a small town, so that means, growing up in a small town myself, and his town's even smaller, people, I think maybe social media was maybe not as prevalent.
It was around, but yeah.
Yeah, were we still in MySpace era?
No, I think you're just moving past the MySpace and getting into, like, Facebook is now opening up to people outside of school.
Friend's house right near his own house, so didn't venture very far at all.
No.
Then his group of friends hear about a 21st birthday party.
But also to back up, he did leave his house. It is March.
Right. Sorry.
And by the way, we were up in Lake Placid a couple of years ago in April, and we were in a blizzard. We
Oh
went up
yeah, full
Scarface.
snowsuits.
Yeah, and then we went up to the top of Big Slide, and yeah, there was a couple feet of snow, like just the
because
few.
there was a storm when we were there. So
But
yeah,
in Albany, it was 80 degrees.
yeah. No, it's cold there.
So yeah, keep in mind in
Through
March. Yeah,
March, it's still very
yeah,
chilly.
middle of March, the Ides of March.
Yeah, right around that time,
It's
pretty cold.
It's
They're
winter.
definitely 31 o'clock in the morning. A fight breaks out at this party. There probably was some drinking because it's a 21st birthday party and it's the sticks.
Yep.
So let's be honest. It's probably some drugs. The fight breaks out and Colin's friends decide to leave.
Mhm.
Probably
Again, I have firsthand knowledge that it was not that cold at all that year. It was very, very unseasonably warm. Everybody says it's because of where it's at, and it should have been cold, but it was not. Not that night, nor that period of time.
because they don't want to get, underage drinking. That's a
I
big
think that's
deal.
what they said. Yeah, they didn't want to.
They don't want to be associated with that if something should happen. They start to pack up and leave.
Yeah.
Colin does not want to go.
Yeah.
He adamantly wants to stay. There's some theories about that. Do you have any?
I guess if myself, put myself in that situation.
Yeah, when you're 18 and
I'm
you're
an
at a party,
18-year-old.
you're having a good. Let's say you're having a good time.
I've been in this situation.
Yeah.
I was older than 18. I was probably about 20. Even after his disappearance, I know that, and we'll get to it a little bit more. But the police went around asking him around his dorm if they've heard from him or what they could say about his character and who he was. And all of the people that knew him in college thought he was very likable. He had a lot of friends.
Even the kids in his high school said that about him.
Yeah, exactly. My point is that people who didn't know him as long all had the same things to say as the people who've known him forever. He was a very likable. It doesn't seem like he was confrontational. Didn't seem like
Didn't have the reputation of being like in fights or starting fights or anything like that. So, for everything we can tell, we don't think he was involved in this fight.
No. Well, we don't know.
But no one's really talking about that.
Yeah.
As far as
My understanding is he was. He was in the midst of it.
the newspaper's not really saying much about that.
Mm-hmm.
But he leaves the party around 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I believe that he was is because it was in regards to his ex-girlfriend, Jessica, the girl that he spoke to on the phone that was supposed to be picking him up as he was walking. So that's why I believe that he was involved.
On foot by himself.
Yes.
Now, there's not really great cell phone reception out there.
Well, also let's back up a little bit. The party went on for a little bit longer after his friends left.
Yeah.
And for some reason, again, it kind of seems like this party abruptly ends. Like maybe there was just too much going on, too much. There might have been another confrontation.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
No one's talking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A lot of this is all theories.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's a theory.
For sure.
Because anyone that was there at the party is like, oh, nothing happened.
Yeah.
So we really don't know.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that Colin was seen leaving the party at 1 a.m. approximately.
Yeah.
And he was walking along the road. I guess it was a long dirt road heading from the house. And then once he got to the more main road, he hung a left. And his home, and I could be wrong, but I believe his home was to the right.
Yeah.
So that was unusual. And no one could really figure out what's going on there. But around 1:30, he's spotted by a man named Rich, who I won't.
This is why the ex-girlfriend needs to come forward and speak to people, because this is where he was headed on foot. She was coming to get him accordingly, supposedly, and has not spoke to anybody about this, which I think is ridiculous.
Say his last name, but he's at that time the editor of the Lake Placid newspaper. He's an older gentleman. He's driving his mother home from a weekend and didn't want to stop to help or ask if he needed a ride because he didn't know Colin.
It's that cold out and they don't have a coat on.
I don't know if I would. I wouldn't. I'm a woman though, so I think there's a little bit of a different dynamic there.
Yeah, but the difference between, like, especially if you keep yourself distant, just don't let the person get up on the car, get like close enough onto you. You know, you just, hey, are you okay? Do you need help? Do you need me to call the cops, like, what's going on, and you can get like a gist. I understand it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. Nothing good ever happens at 1:30 in the morning when you're,
No.
So I understand the apprehension, but at least to say something. I just find it a little weird.
I don't really. No,
You don't
I
think so?
don't know.
Okay.
I would probably handle it the same way he did.
Okay.
Especially he's got. Never mind. He had his mom. His mother was 90 something years old.
Yeah.
So you can't pull over and ask some young kid what's going on at 1:30 in the morning with your mom in the car. She only lived a few miles down the road. He figured, I'm going to just drop her off. I'll go to the trooper barracks.
He went straight to the trooper. He didn't even drop
There
her
was
off yet.
no. He dropped her off first.
The story I read, they went directly from him to the trooper barracks.
Well, it took 30 minutes for a trooper to get from the time he saw her.
Yeah.
And
it was 4 miles away. The trooper
from the
barracks.
time he saw Colin to the trooper arriving at the scene, 30 minutes had passed. No sign of Colin.
Okay.
Apparently, according to reports 2 years later,
Mhm.
they did find at pretty much the exact spot that Mr. Rich saw Colin
Bum, bum, bum.
his driver's license and a tobacco pipe, which, i.e., I think that's a weed pipe, isn't it?
Think so?
Yeah.
Like a bong?
No,
Glass
like a
pipe?
glass pipe, right?
Oh.
What's the tobacco? He's smoking like tobacco, like.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like Sherlock Holmes, like the guy's walking down the street, like Sherlock Holmes, like.
Well, I mean, it's 2012, so I think it's a pipe.
Okay.
That's what I assumed.
Why wouldn't they call it a marijuana pipe?
Because you couldn't sell it as a marijuana pipe back then. You had to sell it as a tobacco pipe in a head shop.
But we all know what it is.
Yeah, but they're not going to label it that.
All right. I wish it would have said like a glass pipe or a metal pipe.
Corncob pipe.
Exactly. That's what I'm picturing in my head.
I know. I am. That is what I'm picturing too. But I don't think. Went to this party with 9 friends. All of them left except for him. The remaining people, no one's talking.
And so let's also I know you did say that like it's a small town. They weren't exactly invited, but they knew the people. It was a 21st birthday party for somebody. And
I mean, you and I have both been to parties like that where the invite goes out, especially after high school or right around high school, and it's whoever wants to come.
Yeah.
Hey, so and so's having a party.
Yeah, but it wasn't his close inner circle.
Right, it was not his inner circle. Sounds like his inner circle was there though.
I agree,
They left. And they
Right.
left him, and he stayed for a reason.
Yeah, and he stayed. That's not. I don't think that's in question. That they.
No, it's his friends.
They did what they had to do. They had to leave, and he didn't want to go. So, but what's interesting is there's another gentleman involved. His name is Austin Toohey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Austin says that he saw Colin walking at 1:45. So this is between the time Rich saw him and the trooper arrives.
Now, I want you to remember this name. Austin Toohey. This is a very important name.
Mm-hmm.
And Austin says that he saw him walking when he was bringing his cousin from the party home, going one way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then about 15 minutes later, he's going back the other way, and he stopped both times, I guess, and asked Colin if he wanted a ride.
Mm-hmm.
And Colin turned down the ride and said he was waiting for someone to come pick him up.
Okay, guys. No, this is not true. You remember the truck going by and Austin yelling F you to the truck, or I'm sorry, Colin yelling F you to the truck? This is the truck, folks. Think about this for a few minutes.
Austin and his cousin, Justin.
Yeah. So there he goes. He's driving one direction, Austin, to drop the cousin off. They stop and ask Colin if he wants a ride. He says no. Austin drops the cousin off,
They never stopped and asked him if he wanted a ride. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not true.
drives back. Colin's still there. Hey, you want a ride? No, got someone going to get me. Austin goes on his way. As far as we know, Colin never called anyone to come get him.
Yeah.
None of his friends, those 9 friends that were there, everyone's like, nope, he didn't call me.
And it's a little weird.
Nobody called Jessica, and she was supposedly told him she was coming to get him. And I have questions about her as well.
It doesn't add up. He's walking down the street in the middle of nowhere, waiting for somebody to come pick him up. Why didn't he stay at the party? If he was waiting for somebody to come pick him up, he could have stayed
Well,
on
I
the
could
front
see him
porch.
not staying at the party because the party ended.
Yeah,
so he's walking
to wait
kind
for
of
a ride.
to wait for the ride. But it does make
can wait at
sense
the end of
to
the driveway
me.
or
Yeah, but it does make sense to me,
corner.
especially in the pre-cell phone days.
Yeah.
So because he has no real reception, let's assume he can't just like drop a pin, right? So he's walking in the direction the person would be coming from so that they'll see him, right?
Yeah.
And so he's walking on this main road so that they don't have to make the turn. They're going to see him. He's right there. And he's walking towards the direction they'd be coming from instead of towards his house, right? So they'll find him easier. This all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So
him walking down the street waiting for a ride doesn't make sense to me. Not the time
No.
of year, not that time of night.
Well, he's not going to sit still. It's cold.
Yeah, I think he should have. I think he could have. I mean, Austin offered him a ride. Obviously, was Austin at the party?
Yes. Austin was apparently. So there's several theories that we'll get into later that are all.
Well, my point is, if Austin's at the party, he could say, "Hey, Austin, can you bring me? You're going to be giving
right.
Justin
There's a lot of
Can you give me a ride home too?
What's
give me
the
a
right
ride to-
word?
yeah.
What's the unsubstantiated claims?
Yeah, it just doesn't
that
make
Austin was
sense.
involved in the earlier altercation.
Yeah.
That the altercation was between Austin and Colin.
Yeah.
That Austin was very confrontational and known to be very confrontational in the area, and that Austin and him didn't really get along.
You don't think okay.
All unsubstantiated claims, but
If they didn't get
claims
along, why would
nonetheless. So there you go.
Why would Austin
Did Austin even really stop?
Mhm.
Did he just drive by him?
Yeah.
Did he even ask him for a ride? We will never know the answer to these questions.
I have a different story about this, by the way.
What kind of wildlife is that?
No one saw him get in a fight with Austin, yet there's rumors that he did. There's
Yeah.
no it's not substantiated. Again, the police aren't really talking,
Mhm.
so you're hearing stuff through the rumor mill.
For sure.
So, there is there's several suspected theories about what happened to Colin. Number one, that he's walking with a t-shirt on in frigid temperatures.
Yeah. Hypothermia also causes
Hypothermia.
disorientation.
Way too warm for that night.
Disorientation, that he wandered off into the woods.
Yeah.
Number two, foul play. So someone took him
Mhm.
from the scene.
Mhm.
Someone hit him with their car.
Yeah.
Well,
don't we still have some more
So yeah,
before we get into the different possibilities? Or are we at that point?
I think we've covered everything.
Well, I mean, so he goes missing. His parents wake up, find him not home. Not uncommon.
No, it's an 18-year-old kid.
The night before, he spent the night at his friend's house.
Yep.
Was home by morning or at least early afternoon.
Yeah.
By the time it was afternoon and the parents hadn't seen or heard from him, they started calling him. His phone, I guess, was dead, going to voicemail.
It was going straight to voicemail.
And they really started to get worried. Called the cops. Cops went out there, looked for him, couldn't find him, and that's when it started to saying, "Hey, we got a missing person." They got the U.S. military from Fort Drum involved, and
they had something like
helicopters.
6,000 volunteers that
I read
first
more
day
than
or
that.
something.
Oh, the first
no, the
day?
first day.
Yeah.
Something like that. Have never found anything of Colin's. He had a red and orange backpack on.
Yes.
He had the jacket.
Mhm.
He had clothes.
My understanding is eventually they did find the backpack and the jacket, pieces and parts of that. They did find the phone, like I said, way back in the woods. But nothing of him at all.
On.
Yeah.
Not found one iota.
No.
Other than the license and the pipe.
Not a shoe, because
Thank
originally
you,
it was
SRB.
reported.
Yeah,
It got leaked
there was
that there was his shoe and his license were found.
Right. It was the license and a pipe.
A lot of shoes were found, but none of them were.
Which is interesting because that is a young man. I would think he'd carry his license in his back pocket.
In his wallet, yeah.
Or a wallet if he carried a wallet, right?
Why would he take his license out?
I know.
I heard that there were things within his wallet that were scattered about. They were found separately in different places later on as well.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So.
I don't know. Police always ask for your ID.
And then that is a theory too. Like, did the trooper come across him?
Really? Is that really a thing? Because I'm kind of putting that.
There's like
the police did it.
Well, I don't want to say that the Reddit boards have
said that.
Said that, but if you go on Reddit,
yeah, I think
it does
that's a little far fetched.
I mean, I'm just gonna say that seems very far fetched.
Yeah, that's a dark, slippery.
Only like six.
Yeah, I read Austin.
So speaking of that, there's not much more that you haven't heard on here. I'm going to show you a little something else too. Okay? Bear with me. All right. Thank you guys for sticking around for this. This is a very interesting case. Now, I know Reddit is not always the most reliable source, always, but I think it is in some aspects, folks. Okay? So, again, under the Reddit boards, under the Adirondacks 2 years ago, okay, cold case Colin Gillis missing 12 plus years from Tupper Lake. This young man went to a party, was never seen again. There's solid speculation that foul play was at hand. And it brings this up. This is Colin, his information, so on and so forth. Gives a picture of him. Gillis, it just explains everything. And the New York State Police were involved in this for sure. Okay. And then in 2020, they did another search, I do believe, on a lead that they had where they had dug up some property because it was brought up about the people stating somebody coming forth saying they heard this heavy equipment turn on and start moving around 3 a.m. in this one specific area that was very close to this. Okay. Which I think is very interesting. So some of the Reddit posts up here, guys, are quite interesting. No shoes or boots. I don't think so, Cap. From what I found, I don't remember there being any. Okay. So I'm going to start reading some of this to you guys. I know they pulled out all the stops for a search of the surrounding wilderness, but I can't help thinking how insanely tough it is to find someone in a thick forest if they somehow wound up more than trivial distance from the road. Wes Wamgans, this is one of the other guys that went missing, disappeared 14 years ago in probably the most heavily used hiking area in the entire park and has never been recovered. Yeah, the search around where he went missing seems to be very, very comprehensive. Could they have missed him, though? Yes, in my opinion. Though it doesn't make sense that he would wander into the woods. He was on a road with cars going by. He had a coat. If stories are to be believed, he turned down 2 rides from the same guy and yet tried to flag down a stranger? I can't make that make sense. His ID and his bowl were found on the road, but his backpack and jacket were never found. That part's not true. They were found eventually. I've always wondered and have heard a pretty concentrated theory around the local bully and relatives. This is important. The local bully and relatives of that person. But nothing ever came of it. Sad and frightening for sure. My heart goes out to his loved ones. Not knowing must be wrenching. I've always wondered too. I've heard the same theories over and over again and wonder why nothing has come of it. Terribly sad. The not knowing is always worse because grief can send the mind spinning into all kinds of places, of course. So, YouTube comments are not fans of Austin. But is he responsible? I guess he's also dead. If he did have something to do with it, there could be accomplices or witnesses. They must not have. If I was police, I would sure like to revisit interviews with the people that were at the party that night in 2020. They did a search in Edwards, and I think that is the last I've heard about that. That one doesn't count. Israel was rolled out, so on and so forth. Let me get down to some of these other ones. The FBI was present at that farmhouse for about 8 days. I was hoping for closure for the family, but much more was released other than this article. Not much more, I'm sorry. Okay. 1 minute. So, this is where it starts to get interesting. This is a year ago. I am 100% convinced that Officer Jordan Nason was involved in this cover up. He is Brittany's brother. Brittany, if you guys remember the truck that we've been told and talked about, well, there was a woman or a female driving that truck. Okay. That is her. Okay. So this is where, like I said, it gets interesting. He is Brittany's brother. Officer Nason, Jordan Nason is Brittany, the girl driving the truck. That is her brother, and he's also a canine officer, from my understanding. Apparently, the Toohey boys, which is the one they're dead, Austin, they hit a deer that night, quote unquote, and they were seen washing their truck down at the car wash. The word is, based on this, Colin was put into a suitcase, and when they went back, it had been moved. They had either left him at their camp. There's a lot of like hunting camps out here. Or at the construction site of a new house while they cleaned up the truck. Rumor has it that he's buried in the foundation of a new home. This was heard by people from Paul Toohey when he was drunk. I've also heard that he was tossed in a lake, which I think tracks. If it were in one of those many bogs that are in that area, toss something heavy enough in there and you wouldn't be able to find it. I think someone knows something concrete, and meth and heroin are a big problem in this area. It's only a matter of time before someone gets busted for drugs and says something eventually. I think the only reason it hasn't been solved yet is because of police corruption. This tracks with all the rumors and explains why it hasn't been solved too. It's tragic. It definitely seems that there are people out there who know the truth, but are maybe scared to speak up. This seems to be the most plausible explanation. The Toohey brothers have both passed on. However, I believe that there are a lot of people walking around that know what happened, but are afraid to talk due to corruption. It's unfathomable, I'm sorry, to not be able to give his family closure. And I am curious if the recent kidnapping that took place has anything to do with this case. I want to know the cop that was dispatched to the call of the Gillis walking on the road. I have a theory, but I'd love to be proven wrong on. And you're probably not wrong, though. I'd like to see the police report. And again, it took the police 45 minutes to show up to this call, folks. 30 to 45 minutes, I'm told. Was it this officer? The brother of the girl driving the truck? There's a story out through these that I went through, and that you click on different links in here, and it takes you to other places. There's a story out there that Austin and his brother were in the truck along with Mr. Larkin, and Brittany was driving, and there was one other gentleman there, I believe, as well, in the truck. They roll on by, yelling something at Colin. Colin basically throws a finger up and yells, "F you." They come back, headed in that direction. Okay. There's a story out here based on one of the links that rolls out of this that Austin grabbed the wheel from Brittany and turned it in Mr. Gillis's direction and ran him over. That is one of the links to one of the stories I found that people in the town are talking about. But interestingly enough, all of the witnesses to this story, 2 of them are dead, along with their father. The only people that are left are Mr. Larkin and one other gentleman. I don't know his name. And of course, the Brittany girl, who is now off and married with kids and stuff, I guess. And My understanding is that this ex-girlfriend of his that was on the phone with him may have very likely known as well something was going on. Was she involved in it? I don't know. But the argument again was over her, if you remember. Something's wrong here. So finding out that the girl driving the truck's brother is a police officer is kind of interesting. Now, this information that I just explained to you is not anywhere other than it's a story based on the links within this area here. And there's no way to prove any of it. Okay. Someone that's a local commented on this post today, and then I believe they deleted it. Sure would like to have read it. Please reach out or repost. Thank you. This was me, but I messed something up. I didn't have time to retype it. Honestly, it's not really anything that isn't already here. I grew up here locally and remember when this happened, and it's always stuck with me. I know people usually default to exposure in cases like this, and that does happen in the Adirondacks, but this one has always felt off to me. He wasn't deep in the woods. He was walking along Route 3 after getting into a fight that night, which explained to me if he was walking on Route 3 out in wide open why his phone was found way back deep in the woods. Doesn't make sense. There was a huge search effort, hundreds of people out there, and in a place like Tupper Lake, even if people don't know the exact spot, most people know how to navigate that land when they're searching. It's just hard to understand how someone could completely disappear without a trace. They found nothing, folks, nothing. My dad worked for New York State Police and never really talked about work much, to the dismay of my very nosy teenage self, but I remember asking him about it not long after it happened, and he said Colin probably fell through the ice and would be found in the spring. That never happened, and nothing was ever found. I know small towns run on rumors, so I take that with a grain of salt, but there was always talk that the fight earlier that night may have had something to do with it. I see some of the other comments go into more detail about them, and I've seen a lot in other threads. Let me see here. So the rest of this, let me see here. So this property was in Constable. He committed one bank robbery. No, we're talking about Israel here. All right. So again, when I got into these links, and I'm not going to post all this out here because I don't want to get whoever posted this stuff. I really don't want them. Some of the links lead to other specific people, so I'll just say that. But the story is quite interesting that I found in there. That this car that claims that they went by twice, and both times they offered Colin a ride, but that's not what happened at all. And the story that I heard was interesting, how this Austin kind of grabbed the wheel from the girl driving and veered it that way, and it ran him over. And then he disappears. And then we have talk of ear witnesses, claiming that they hear this heavy equipment on this local property that's somewhat nearby, turning on and start moving at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then we see this, there's a rumor that he's buried within the foundation of a house out there in that area. I don't doubt that. That's happened a lot more than you guys believe. There's no way that they could not have found him in 14 years, guys. No way. Whether it's in a pond, a lake, the only way you're not going to find him is if there's a house sitting on top of him. Think about it. Just saying. Just a thought, everybody. Just a thought. And again, nothing has been done. Local police are not, they're not doing anything. Nothing. Again, I think it's very interesting that this one girl's brother was part of the local police force at that time, and that he may even be the officer that responded that night. We don't know. Excuse me. I was digging a little bit. I can't find documents on this, guys. I can't pull up any reports. It's very weird. There's nothing posted. There's no reason why it's not an open case in that aspect, okay? Because there's a missing case. There's nothing else with it. So I should have been able to find police reports or something. I can't find anything. There's nothing. So I did post a link in the chat. If anybody would like to join me here and discuss a little bit of this, I would love to have you to hear your feelings and your thoughts. Just very interesting. I was kind of excited about putting this out because it has not been talked about at all. That you see, there's very little on it, and I think that's been done on purpose. I think they've kept it out of the news on purpose, and I feel like a lot of people don't want to talk about it within that area because there's a fear. I'm just saying. Sierra Joppa. That's the one that Dylan has covered because that's in Dylan's area of Ohio where he lives. Right there. Yeah, it's a very crazy case too, Angel. Very crazy. All right, 1 minute. People say that there are missing people buried in concrete foundations, but what they don't understand is that a body would make that concrete collapse and crack. Well, yeah, they can also be buried in other places around or amongst those areas. It could just be that they're buried in the ground near a house, depending on what you put in the ground with the foundation and stuff. It could be, which I know what you're saying. Because of the rotting around it, Cap. Is that what you're saying with the body? That's why people bury bodies with lye and lime and stuff like that. Give me 1 minute. I was trying to find one other thing here. So I found a Facebook some Facebook links to this too. Okay, I want to show you guys something. You guys know how true crime works. You guys have seen many other cases. Thank you, SRB. Let me show you something, guys, and I just want your opinion. Again, there's a link if anybody wants to join me to discuss any of this. You're welcome to. If not, no worries. All right. So this is in a Facebook group, the 518 Vales post. Okay, and there's many people commenting in here, local people, some non-local, um, things like that. And as we scroll down, we get to this point here. Okay. You guys remember the name I threw at you? Welcome, Coburger Tickets. Good to see you. This is a cold case that's happened back in 2012, camping out, that I definitely think needs to be brought to the table. So we're discussing it tonight. So remember I told you there was a girl driving the truck? And her brother is a canine police officer within that area, right? So I found this post last night. It says Britt Nason is the name. Brittany Nason. This is the sister to the canine police officer. This is her statement. It really amazes me how many of you people know what happened, but yet all you do about it is run your mouth to the next person with the story you think is true, but yet have absolutely no facts to back it up. There are no answers, so people want to make their own up. Wait, yeah, want to make their own up, which they then believe. At some point, the truth will come out. It always does. Until then, it's truly not fair to any of our family that names have been dragged through the mud and shit said that's not true about them. And really, it's not fair to our kids that have to go to school and listen to all of it. I pray every day that the truth comes out sooner than later so the Gillis family can have closure as well. Now, this is the girl supposedly that was driving the truck this night when Mr. Austin grabbed the wheel and veered it and ran him over. Now, again, this is a story, folks. There's no way to prove this, but this is what I was told. Or not what I was told. You know what I mean, what I saw and what I read. So going forth, there's a few other thoughts here. This one, it says, I've been doing some investigating, and it seems as if a report from 2012 states that at 1:30 a.m. on the night of his disappearance, Austin Toohey was driving his cousin Jordan Amel to his home in Piercefield. Now, this is the direction that Colin was headed on foot towards Piercefield. Okay. When they spotted Colin leaving, I knew I was going to have to say this word, and it's not right. Paskungama, Pascuma, something like that road. Okay, where there was a house party. I was looking at this word last night. I knew I was going to have to say it, but anyway, where the house party was on foot around 1:30. They asked him if he needed a ride, and he declined, saying that he was waiting for a friend to pick him up. Later, at an unknown time, Austin stopped again on his trip back to his home in Tupper Lake as he saw Colin again, encouraging Colin to get in the truck. But he reportedly declined the offer once more, and this time Colin was near the headquarters of Bruce Richards Logging, heading west. This is all suspicious to me, as I haven't seen this information anywhere else. And if Nathan Toohey, who is Austin's cousin, is connected to this, it's weird that his cousin was there at the time. I don't live near Tupper Lake, so I don't know how long it would take to walk from these roads to another, or how logical it is that he was still on the same road the party was on at 1:30 when he reportedly left the party. So here's the thing. You can get anywhere you want to go at 1 in 15 minutes in this town, which tells me he was walking, but he was waiting for this girl, his ex-girlfriend, to pick him up. Okay. That's why he wasn't moving very fast. When he reportedly left the party at 1, this is just some information, just not certain that it's a fact. I think it's interesting. 1 minute. Let's see this one here. Here's the other part to this. This is quite interesting as well. I am 100% convinced that, again, we've heard this. This is probably the other portion of the link that we had up above. That Officer Nason is involved in the cover-up. He's Brittany's brother, and apparently the Toohey boys, we heard all that, right? They had either left him at their camp at a construction site of a new home while they cleaned up the truck. So there again, it takes you back to that whole scenario. Rumor has it that he's buried in the foundation of the house. We heard that. This was heard by people from the one Toohey brother when he was drunk. Blah, 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 so on and so forth. And they believe that this has not been solved because of police corruption. So both these statements were the Reddit statements that we saw before. Oh, let me get that shrunk back down so I can get back to the other stuff. Sorry. And 1 minute. So this is somebody that says they live in Indian Lake, and I've heard the foundation story from almost everyone I talk to. Why has no one investigated that? I don't care whose house it is. If there's a body under the foundation, they need to recover it. Let me see these other statements in here. All right. So this one states, I believe that this is the guy Patrick Whitehall admitted to killing. I even turned him in to the investigator. It's stuff like this where our lie detectors will come in handy, question the people who were last seen with him. Someone knows something. Very sad when people just disappear out of nowhere and aren't found. It's happening more and more. So my understanding with this Patrick Whitehall person, he is the other person that is still alive that was in possibly in a truck that witnessed to this. This is just something I remember seeing last night. Um, I don't know. Was there more here? Maybe this was. That might have been it. Thank you, Bubbles, very much. And again, thank you to anybody that chooses to support us via the cash links here or any of this. It is so very much appreciated. And it is all being used to go towards us moving to help with our closing costs on the house and things like that. Any bit of it that is donated this way is what it's all for, guys. So thank you very much for any of you that choose to do that. And again, God bless. All right, so I don't think anybody wants to join us up here tonight. Understood. No worries. That's fine. Nobody has any thoughts or feelings to express other than in the chat, and I fully understand. I'm grateful for you guys being here. And I hope you guys pass the word on this because I think it needs to be heard. These cold cases are just piling up over and over and over again, going cold and just staying here, and there's no answers to them. And these people are not getting closure on the loss of their loved ones, and it's horrible to me. See, that's the problem, Cap, is there was a story that I read about a gentleman that had brought out cadaver dogs as well as scent dogs. And there was something off with it, okay? Something was off with it. It's believed that something happened, like he came upon something, and when the FBI was brought into the picture that wanted to ask questions, he bolted and took off. I think that's strange in every aspect. That's very strange. If you have some knowledge of your dog finding something in this area, why would you take off? Unless, and the understanding was that that person is also very close to one of the large families in the area that may have had somebody involved in this. Have a great night, Bat Sheet. Thank you for joining us. I hope to see you soon. It is like Stephen Smith's. I agree. Yeah, very much agree. So if you guys happen to come upon, if you look into the Colin Gillis case, um, pass it on. What you've heard here, pass it on. Uh, pass on the link. Again, this is Colin's information at that time. He's been missing since March 11th of 2012 from Tupper Lake, New York. Classified as endangered missing as a male, uh, white male. Date of birth is March 4th of 94. He would be 32 now. He was 18 when he went missing, 6 foot tall, 170 pounds. What he had on the night that he went missing was a men's size medium white short sleeved American Eagle V-neck t-shirt with black stripes, 34, 32 pants, boot cut Levi jeans, size 10, red high top Nike Air tennis shoes, and an orange LL Bean backpack containing a reversible black and red LL Bean coat. Blue eyes, blonde hair, and he has a scar on his left shoulder blade. This is what he would look like at this point in time at 32 years old. That's what he looked like when he went missing. I haven't reached out for any of the police reports that way yet, Kent. I just looked up, see what I could find online or anything. There's nothing. So I don't know if I'm going to even bother to attempt to do any kind of FOIAs for this because they're probably going to get ignored. I don't know. I may. We'll see what happens. If I'm going to keep looking and see if I can find anything else before I do that. This is very sad, you guys. I feel bad because again, like I said, His father is still out here every single day looking for him. And I know in my heart there are people in this town that know what happened. You need to tell him. If you know something, you need to step forward and tell his father what you know or go to police. It's very sad. Nobody should have to go through this, you guys. Nobody. Hey, Scripps, good to see you guys. Thank you for being here for this, for those of you that might be taking off. I do appreciate you all very much. And I think that's probably going to do it because that's all the info I can get off of this. I don't have anything more. Let me see here. Oh, and also I forgot. The house that was built, okay, that they showed in that one photograph, it was an addition onto the one gentleman that was in the fight with him that night, Larkin. It was his father's house, who absolutely, of course, would cover for him. And they are, from what I read in some of the bits and pieces, they're a family of Masons. They control most of the gas and oil in the town, along with many other businesses. The family with the last name Larkin is very well to do in this area. So, if you come to find out that your son or grandson did something that maybe he shouldn't have, they're going to hide it, guys. We know this. They have the ability to do this. They know everybody. So it's sad, but it happens. At some point, I'll probably do a second show to this. And when I do, I'm going to try to put together some mapping and show you guys why this doesn't make any sense, guys. It just doesn't. Because I think it's important to be able to see that stuff, and it definitely does help. I have a lot of the names of the streets involved in this in different areas and stuff like that, but I didn't have time really to map it together. And I'm not very good at that, but I will get that stuff put together, and we will make that happen so you can see all this and understand, again, why this really doesn't make any sense and why there are people out here, family members, his father, and other family members, very close friends, that are heartbroken over this. And there have been, let me tell you something else. There have been many people that have been threatened over this case, from what I was reading, that they need to be quiet and not talk about this, or bad things will happen. And I think that's insane. People were just basically told, you better shut up or things are going to happen. That's not okay. And people shut up. I don't blame them. If you live in that area and you know the area, you know the people and the things that they can do, that's probably the best thing to do. But that doesn't answer what actually happened. And that family and that father deserves that closure, period. So thank you guys all so much for joining me for this tonight. I appreciate you very much. I will see you guys at some point tomorrow, as always. Thank you to my mods for being here. I know it's getting late. I think I'm going to try to do some more of these cold case and coffee and a cold case shows for you guys. These cold cases need to get some eyes on them. Really do. I will continue on with my Idaho 4 coverage as well as other things, but I'm going to start doing some of these as well, guys, because they really need attention. So again, thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. Thank you again to anybody that chose to donate and support us here that way tonight as well. God bless. Thank you to all of you for hitting the like button. That's the most important thing. And please leave a comment, if you will, about what your thoughts were on this. If you know anything about it, let me know. Any of that stuff. But beyond that, just hit the like button, please, and share it out, guys. And come on back tomorrow. And we will jump into something else, guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of your night. Don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. And most importantly, do not change who you are, because that is what I love about you the most. You. Because you are amazing and beautiful. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
The coffee's cold, the final stain. We laid the map
while the city was asleep. The evidence lines up straight and true, a perfect picture of what they chose to do. The quiet street erupts in flashing light, a reckoning delivered in the night. SWAT serves the warrant, loud and clear, the sound of justice, the only thing we hear at the TruCrime Cafe. We watch the suspect finally pay. The dark truth is backed and signed and sealed. The wound is closed, the name is finally healed. It's finally healed. The cafe's empty, closed for the night. We put the darkness back into the light. We'll wipe the counter, set the empty chair, and wait right here for the next secret laid bare. Until the next one.